Shri Sai Ram, dear students. Today's topic is a poem, Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning by Norman Nicholson. Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning by Norman Nicholson. Now you might be wondering what outer space is. Let's have a look. This is outer space. Everything, all the space outside the earth is called outer space. It can include so many things. Outer space is the expanse, that means the area that exists beyond the earth and between celestial bodies. It is where all the planets, stars, galaxies and other objects are found. So this poem is about an astronaut who wants to go to outer space. He is very excited about his trip to outer space. Now going to outer space is not at all dangerous nowadays because they have so many things to make sure that everything works out properly. But still there have been a few disasters, and I'm sure you are very well aware of the disaster of the spaceship Columbia, in which our favorite Kalpana Chawla was there. You can see a picture of that. Columbia Space Shuttle disaster 2003. This is Kalpana Chawla, and you can see what happened to the space shuttle of hers. And she passed away at the young age of 40. And this was a very sad thing because she was the first woman of Indian origin to go into outer space, and I think our whole country was in mourning when this disaster happened. Just when they were entering into the Earth's orbit, something like this happened and the whole shuttle just disintegrated and everything was gone. Now before this, there was another disaster that was in 1986. This was the Space Shuttle Challenger. And here in this one, there was a school teacher also. So this one, it disintegrated as soon as it took off. Just 73 seconds after takeoff, it happened like that, and you can see completely blast. You can see all the people were so happy and they were watching it, and when they were happily watching, within like that few seconds, just burst into flames. And all young people, most of the astronauts who go in these shuttles are quite young, around 30, 40 years old, and very talented people. And usually they send about 7 people. In this one also there were 7 crew members who all perished. And in the other one, the Space Shuttle Columbia also, 7 of the crew members were there and they all perished. Now let's go to, I just thought it's nice to have that information. Now let's go on to the poem, Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning. This is a very light-hearted poem, very easy read. And before we read, let's have a little knowledge about our poet, Norman Nicholson. Norman Nicholson, an English poet, was born on January 8, 1914 in United Kingdom. In addition to poetry, he has written novels, plays and essays. He has also written regional geography, literary criticism, autobiography and literary biography. His poetry is noted for its local concerns, straightforwardness of language and inclusion of elements of common speech. He passed away on 30th May 1987 in UK. So that's just little information about him. Now let's go on to the poem, Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning. As you can see, I have not listed any glossary, which means there are very few difficult words. So I just want you to sit back, relax and enjoy yourselves as I read the poem and explain it to you. The first stanza, you can start the countdown. You can take a last look. You can pass me my helmet from its plastic hook. You can cross out my name from the telephone book, for I'm off to outer space tomorrow morning. There's not a single hard word. So what does it say? You can start the countdown. What is the countdown? Countdown is when you count backwards. When we count something, we don't say count up. We just say count. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is counting. Countdown is going backwards, like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. That is called countdown. So when you count down and come to 0, that's when the space shuttle would take off. So he's telling you can start counting down. He's so excited to go into outer space. He said even though he's going the following day, tomorrow, he still says you can start counting down because he cannot wait to go. So you can take a last look. You can have one last look at me because I'm going very far away. I may not even come back. So, and he says, pass me my helmet. He's in such a hurry. He says, pass me my helmet which is hanging on the plastic hook so that I can wear it and get ready to leave. You can cross out my name from the telephone book. This might be a little strange to you because nowadays nobody has a telephone book. You all have your mobiles and all the telephone numbers are already listed under contacts. Probably some of you have not even seen a telephone book, but several years ago, we had telephone books where we would write down the names of the people and their telephone numbers. And if you wanted to phone anybody, you have to look up in the book and find the person and the name and dial the number. So it is much easier now. But those days, this was the way. You had the names and the phone numbers written in the telephone book. So he says, you can cross out my name because you will not have any need to phone me anymore because I'm going off to outer space. Now this stanza tells you that the astronaut, who is the speaker, he has a little bit of a doubt that he may not come back. Otherwise, why would he say, you can cross out my name from the telephone book, you can take one last look at me. That means maybe he feels that once I go, I may not even come back. So let's look at the meaning. The astronaut is ready to go to outer space the following morning. He asks people to take one last look at him. Then he asks someone to pass him his helmet as he is ready to leave. He says people can delete, means take off. Delete his name from the telephone book. This indicates means this shows that he is doubtful of returning back to Earth. Now let's look at the rhyme scheme. I'm sure you have studied that before, but if you do not know it, I'll just go through it quickly. Look at the last words of each line. First last word is look. It rhymes with hook, book, morning doesn't rhyme with anything. So this is how we make the rhyme scheme. The last word of the first line is given the alphabet A, small a. Now the next word below that, here hook, if it rhymes with look, it is also given A or it is given B. Now because hook rhymes with look, that also becomes A. Book again rhymes with the other two, that is also an A. Morning doesn't rhyme with anything, it becomes B. So the rhyme scheme of this poem would be A, B. All right. Now let's go on to the next stanza. Now the rhyme scheme is the same for the entire poem. Every stanza you will find that the last word of the first 3 lines will be rhyming and the 4th line is always morning. It will be a different word. Second stanza, there won't be any calendar, there won't be any clock. Daylight will be on the switch and winter under lock. I'll doze when I'm sleepy and wake without a knock, for I'm off to outer space tomorrow morning. So you can see the excitement in his tone. He says, when I go there, there won't be any calendar. I'll be in space. There is no daylight, there is no night, there is no day, nothing. So I won't need any calendar. I won't need any clock. When I want it to be morning, I will just switch on the light. When I want it to be night, I will just switch it off. I will sleep whenever I feel sleepy. And I don't have to worry about anybody knocking on my door and waking me up because I am all alone. So when I feel like waking up, I will wake up. So that is what he means here. So once he is in outer space, There would be no calendars, no clocks. If he wanted it to be day, he would just switch on the light. There would be no seasons, so he would be free from the cold winter. So normally people don't like the winter because it is very cold. They have to wear these jackets and gloves and hats and shoes and socks and everything and go out, and they are not comfortable. So when you are in space, there are no seasons, so he doesn't have to worry about winter. He would sleep when he is sleepy and wake up when he wants to. Nobody would be there to knock on his door to wake him up. Isn't that wonderful? I'm sure you all also, when you're sleeping, happily sleeping in your bed, in the morning, your mom or dad comes and knocks on the door. It's 6 o'clock, get up, get up. And you wish that nobody would knock and wake you up. So here also he's very happy. If he wants to sleep for a longer time, no problem. Nobody is there to wake him up. The next stanza, I'll be writing no letters, I'll be posting no mail, for with nobody to visit me and not a friend in hail, in solitary confinement as complete as any jail, I'll be off to outer space tomorrow morning. Now here again, he says, nobody is going to write letters to me and I'll be posting no mail. Now this is an American poem. The poet is American. In America, for what we call post, they call it as mail. So when you write the letter, you say, I'm going to mail the letter in USA. But here we say, I'm going to post the letter. So here mail means posting the letters. For with nobody to visit me and not a friend in hail, means there's nobody to greet. What do you do when you see friends? Hi there, hello, we say all that, right? You can't do any of that because there's nobody there, no friends, he's all alone. So there's nobody can visit him because he'll be in outer space, and in solitary confinement, he'll be all alone, nobody is there, and it is a very confined space, it's a small area, so it feels like he's in jail. I'll be off to outer space tomorrow morning. Now I want you to look at that word jail, G-A-O-L, that's pronounced as jail. Now that is why English sometimes it is difficult to pronounce the words correctly because the same letter can be pronounced differently. This sounds just like J-A-I-L and it means the same, but it is written as G-A-O-L. This is the old spelling of jail in British English. Now nobody spells it like this anymore. We just say J-A-I-L, which is given here. Jail means prison or jail. G-A-O-L and J-A-I-L pronunciation is the same. Here again, mail, hail, jail, all are the same rhyming words. So the pattern is the same, only the last word is different. So he will not be writing any letters or posting any mail. There would be no one to visit him and he would have no friend he can greet. He is all alone. He would be in solitary confinement and it would feel that he is in jail. Next stanza. When my capsule door is sealed and my space flight has begun. So all this, the previous stanzas, he is getting ready to leave. Now when it begins, let's see what he would go through. With the teacups circling round me like the planets round the sun. I'll be center of my gravity, a universe of one, setting off to outer space tomorrow morning. So when the door of the shuttle is closed and his space flight takes off, what happens? He loses the center of gravity. The gravitational pull becomes less and less, and then everything, including himself, would be starting to float all over. And you can see the picture of a teacup there. Everything will be floating around because there is no gravitational pull. So he feels that he will be the center of his own gravity as he sets off. So once the space flight begins, the pull of gravity slowly disappears and the teacups will rotate around him like planets go around the sun. This is a simile. Just like the planets go around the sun, the teacups will be rotating, going around, floating all around him. He would be the center of his own gravity. Some of the words which I thought you might have difficulty with, I have listed at the bottom. You can refer to them if you need to. The next stanza, you can watch on television and follow from afar, tracking through your telescope my upward shooting star. But you needn't think I'll give a damn for you or what you are when I'm off to outer space tomorrow morning. So he says, when I take off, I'll be in space. How can you watch me? You can watch me on television when they telecast the news about my trip. You can watch me there. Or you can go outside on your terrace or somewhere and watch me through the telescope. Those are the two ways you can watch my space shuttle. So he says, but don't think I care about you, whether you watch me, whatever you do, I don't care at all because I'm so happy going by myself to outer space. So people would be able to watch him on television or through their telescopes. He would not care about anything as he would be in outer space. Once again, the rhyming words afar, star, are. All right, the same rhyming scheme. Next one. And when the rockets thrust me on my transgalactic hop, with 20,000 light years before the first stop, then you and every soul on earth can go and blow your top, for I'm off to outer space tomorrow morning. So he says when he goes on his transgalactic, means across galaxies, the spacecraft goes everywhere and it goes so fast, 20,000 light years, it goes really, really fast before he stops somewhere. So he says, everyone, all of you, some of you might be jealous because I got the chance and you all didn't get, and you might be very angry. It doesn't matter to me because I'm just having a good time in outer space. So once his journey begins at very high speed, he wouldn't care if others got angry and envied him, as he would be hundreds of light years away. So that's the poem. I hope you understood it. As I told you, it's a very light-hearted, easy poem. So now let's look at the summary. The poem Off to Outer Space Tomorrow Morning by Norman Nicholson describes the feelings of an astronaut who is ready to go to outer space the following morning. Tomorrow morning is the following morning. He feels happy that he won't need any clocks or calendars in outer space. Daylight will be under the control of a switch. He will be able to sleep or wake up whenever he wants, as there will be no one to disturb him. There will be no seasons either. He won't write any letters or post any mails. He will feel like a prisoner, as he will be alone in a confined space and he will not be able to have visitors or friends. Once the door of the spacecraft is closed and it shoots into space, the gravitational force of the Earth disappears. As a result, teacups will circle around him like planets revolve around the sun. People can watch him on television or track him through their telescopes. He will not mind if people envy him because he will be too far away to care. So this is the short summary of the poem. The rhyme scheme, as I told you in the beginning, is A-A-A-B. All the stanzas, the first 3 lines, the last words rhyme, and the last line, the last word is always morning, which doesn't rhyme with anything else. So first stanza we have look, hook, book. Second stanza, clock, lock, knock. Third stanza, mail, hail, jail. Fourth one, begun, sun, one. Fifth one, afar, star, are. Sixth one, hop, stop, and top. The similes, in solitary confinement as complete as a jail, that's a simile, with the teacups circling round me like planets round the sun, that is another simile. I hope everything is clear to you all. Now, the fun part, let's have a quiz. Would you like me to read out the questions and you answer, or would you like me to put up the questions on the board? I think most of you prefer that I put up the questions on the board, on the screen, so that it becomes easier. You can listen to me and also read the questions and quickly jot down the answers. The answers can be in one word or a phrase or a sentence. So let's start. Please grab a piece of paper or take your notebooks and your pens, and let's start the quiz. There are 10 questions. Let's see how many you will be able to answer. The first one, what was hanging on the plastic hook? What was hanging on the plastic hook? Number 2, what does the astronaut want people to do to his name in the telephone book? Number 2, what does the astronaut want people to do to his name in the telephone book? Number 3, how would he make it daylight? Number 3, how would he make it daylight? Number 4, what would he not write? Number 4, what would he not write? Number 5, what would he not post? Number 5, what would he not post? Number 6, give another word for solitary confinement. Give another word for solitary confinement. Number 7, what happens to the teacups when the flight begins? What happens to the teacups when the flight begins? Number 8, why does this happen? This is about continuation of that question. Why does this happen? Number 9, write down 2 ways in which people can watch him. Number 9, write down 2 ways in which people can watch him. Number 10, how do you think the astronaut feels about his trip? This can be any answer, whatever you feel like you can write. Number 10, how do you think the astronaut feels about his trip? All right, I'm going to put down the answers for you, and you can mark them. If you got it correct, 1 mark. If you got it wrong or did not know the answer, no mark. Answers. What was hanging on the plastic hook? The astronaut's helmet was hanging on the plastic hook. If you just write helmet, you get the mark. Number 2, what does the astronaut want people to do to his name in the telephone book? He wants them to cross out his name from the telephone book. You can just write delete or cross out or get rid of. Any one word is good. How would he make it daylight? He would make it daylight by turning on the switch. So, switching on the light. Turn the switch on. Good enough. Number 4, what would he not write? He would not write any letters. One word you could write, letters. Good answer. What would he not post? He would not post any mail. So again, you can write mail. If you write letters again, I would accept it. That is also correct, because in India, we don't say mail, we say letters. So both will be correct. Give another word for solitary confinement. Another name for solitary confinement is jail. If you don't want to write, if you did not write G-A-O-L, if you write J-I-L, that is also correct. Or if you wrote prison, that is also correct, because they all mean the same thing. What happens to the teacups when the flight begins? They circle around. Why does this happen? No pull of gravity. All right. This happens because there is no gravitational pull in space. So no need to answer in full sentence, just one word, no gravity. Even if I see the word gravity, it is correct. Write down 2 ways in which people can watch him, TV and telescope. 2 words. People can watch him on television or through the telescope. How do you think the astronaut feels about his trip? You can write any one word is good enough. Is excited, happy, enthusiastic, eager, so many words. Doubtful about his return, joyful, delighted, any other word you can think of should be okay. All right. So I hope all of you got 10 out of 10. If you got 9, it's okay. But if you got more than 1 wrong, that means you did not pay attention. And that's not a good thing. All right. Now the comprehension questions which you have to answer for the next session. Question number 1. Answer the following questions in 2 or 3 sentences each. Question number 1. As the astronaut is flying out of the Earth, he has doubts about his return. How does he convey this? Number 2. Why are calendars and clocks useless in space? Number 3. Why does the speaker feel that he is imprisoned? Number 4. Why were teacups circling around him like planets round the sun? Number 5. Why do you think the poet has repeated the last line in every stanza? Please answer the above questions in your notebooks before the next session. I think that's it for today, and I will see you next time. Thank you and Sai Ram.